Hello children and welcome back to mathematics class for class 5. Today we will be starting with chapter 19, data handling. Now before we go into the chapter, let's try to understand the concepts that is behind this data handling. Now what is data? Data is something that we come across every day in life. For example, data is simply a collection of information. It is a collection of information in the form of numerical figures. So, for example, you're comparing boys and girls in your class, the number of boys and girls in your class. So, if the number of boys is, for example, if the number of boys is 10, the number of girls is 11. So, this is collecting data, right? This is called collection of data. So that means here by looking at the numbers written here, we can clearly say that B is for boys. Boys is number of boys is 10, number of girls is 11. Okay. So this data again, it can be written in a table. So we will come across that in the later part of the class. But this data which are written in the table, this is called tabulation of data. Okay. So before we move on to the next topic, let's try to understand what exactly we mean. For example, we have boys 10, girls 11 of them. So this is called collection of data. And when we draw a table in this manner, and I write here boys and girls. If I write this and on the other side of the table, I write 10 and 11. So this data is now inside the table. So this, by looking at this table, we can easily say that there are 10 boys and 11 girls. Okay. So this is an example of collecting data, and this process, the process of inserting the details, the information in the table is called tabulation of data. All right. So let's move on to the next topic. Now we will learn about the first topic, that is representation of data in a frequency table. So we will learn about representation of data in a frequency table. Now, for example, let's take an example where let's say we have a basket, and in that basket, let's assume that we have different fruits. So the first fruit that we have is oranges, then we have apples, and let's say we have bananas. Now let's assume that there are 7 oranges, 2 apples, and let's assume that there are 5 bananas. Now the question here is to represent this data in frequency table. Now before we go there, let's understand what frequency denotes here. Frequency simply denotes the number of times an object occurs. That means here you can see that in oranges there are 7 of them. So this is the frequency. Frequency means the number of occurrences or number of objects. Okay. So frequency simply means the number of objects or the number of occurrence. Okay. So if you understand that, let's move on to the table. So let's draw a table. So we have the first one we have is the type of fruits, and then this will be one column. We will have 3 columns here. The second column is called tally mark, or simply tally. We can also simply call it as tally. The final column will be for frequency. Okay, so we have 3 columns here now. Now these columns we have to fill up with. First column is for fruits. So we will write the first fruit, that is oranges. The next fruit is apples. And the last one is bananas. So we have a table here, and here the oranges is 7. So we will write this 7 in the frequency. That means number of oranges. Number of apples we have as 2. Number of bananas we have as 5. Now what is tally? Tally is simply counting. Okay, it's simply, in simple words, let's put it as counting. So tally is counted in written in this manner: 1, 2, 3, 4. Now till 4 we will draw 4 sticks, and then the 5th one will be a strike. So we can count like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one will always come like this. So here we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then since we have drawn 4 sticks, the 5th one will come like this. That means when you add these two, 5 plus 5, it becomes 10. Okay, so this is how you draw tally. So we have 7. So here we have written till 5, and then 2 more sticks, 6, 7. So this indicates that there are 7 oranges. For apples, we have 2. So only 2 sticks, 1, 2. So we have 2 apples. Here we have 5 bananas. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And the 5th one is always a strike through. You will strike through all the sticks here. So this indicates 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay. So this is about frequency table, and this particular table is called your frequency table. So whenever a question comes for you in this manner, data is given, they ask you to draw the frequency table and write it. This is how you will do it. Okay, children? So this is the first topic that we learned today. The next topic is data representation in pictograph. Pictograph simply means depicting or representing data in picture form. Okay, so we will learn about this. Here we will draw tables, and in the tables we will draw only pictures or symbols or any of those objects, okay, and represent the data in that with that pictures only. For example, if a girl, let's assume that a girl visits 4 different gardens, okay. So when she visits the 4 different gardens, in the first garden, let's say that she found only one flower, okay. And after that she went to the second garden. In the second garden she got only 3 flowers. In the third garden, let's assume she got 2 flowers. And in the fourth garden, let's assume she got, let's say, 4 flowers. Now, the question will be, represent this data in with a pictograph or in a pictograph, okay? So what we will do is we will draw a table first, a table in this manner, and we will separate them. We will make only 2 columns here. The first one will be for the garden, and the next will be your pictograph, okay? I mean pictures, okay? Or let's say number. number of flowers. All right. So in the first place we have the first garden. The first garden, there is only one flower. Now we don't have to write 1 here. If you write 1 in a pictograph representing the number of flowers, that is wrong. So what we are going to do is, let's just assume that this is a flower. So we'll just draw 1 flower. That means in the first garden, there's only 1 flower. In the second garden, this G, I'm writing short for garden, 3 flowers. So we will draw 1, 2, and 3 flowers. Similarly, in the third garden, we have 2 flowers, so we will draw only 2 flowers here. All right. In the fourth garden, we have 4 flowers. So fourth garden, let's say there are 4 flowers. So this is all about pictograph, using pictures, using symbols to show or represent data. Okay, children? So this is about data representation in pictograph. These are quite easy. You don't have to be confused. Once you practice with the exercises given, it's going to be much more easier for you. Let's move on to the next topic. The next topic we have is bar graph. Bar graph. Now bar graph is simply, we can simply put it like this: pictorial representation of numerical data by a number of bars. Now, I'm sure pictorial means pictures, representation. With pictures, you will represent numbers by a number of bars. This word bars will indicate this type of bar. We are talking about this, strips or bars. Okay, we will be using these pictures in graphs, okay, in the representation of bar graph. So we will learn about that with an example. For example, there are 4 districts given. Let's say the district and then their temperature is given. So let us assume that we have 4 districts here. The first one, let's say it is Kohima. Let's say that the temperature in Kohima is 20 degree, okay? And let's say that this is Dimapur. Temperature is, let's say, 35. Let's say Wokha. The temperature is 30. And let's say it is Pek. The temperature is 25. So the different districts are given and different temperatures are being given. And the question is, represent this data in a bar graph, okay? So what we will do is, we will first draw the XY axis. So let's represent this as X and this as Y. And this will be the 0, the starting point for counting. Let's put the numbers on this. Let's put the temperature on this line. So first we will start with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Maximum is 35, so I'll write till 35. So in the first place, we have Kohima, 20 degrees, right? So we will write here Kohima, and then since 20 is here, I'll make some dots here to represent. From Kohima, I will draw this bar. See, from Kohima till 20, That means Kohima has 20 degrees, okay? And we can shade it in this manner. All right? So this is the first bar graph for the first data. The next is Dimapur. Dimapur is 35. So 35 is here. So let's mark this for understanding. So we can draw another bar like this. So for Dimapur, till 35, I drew the bar and I have marked it. Let's just say this is 35 degrees, 20 degrees. And then for Wokha, 30. So I can mark in this manner, all right? It is the same thing. You only have to identify which number and which place come together. Pek is 25. So we have 25 here. And we can draw a bar like this, mark it as 25 degrees. Now this whole picture, the whole illustration is called as bar graph. Okay? So this is how you will draw a bar graph. And sometimes the question will come the opposite. Without this table, this question will come. Sometimes they may ask you, what does the bar graph represent? Okay? So to answer those questions, you have to write here first. This side is temperature from 0 to 35. This side, it is district. District. All right? So this line represents district. Okay? So sometimes they will ask you, what does this bar graph represent? So we can say that this bar graph represents, just by looking at this district, temperature, and all the temperatures recorded, we can say that this bar graph represents the different districts with different temperatures. All right? And sometimes the question will be, which district has the highest temperature? So just by looking at this bar graph, you can see that the tallest one, Dimapur, it has 35 degrees Celsius. So we can conclude that Dimapur has the highest temperature. And sometimes question may come, which district has the lowest temperature? Just look at the bar graph, 35, 20, 25, 30, 25, 20. So we have 20 as the lowest. So these are the type of questions that we will be dealing with. These are the different topics we will be coming across in the exercises. So please try to understand them properly. And I will see you again in the next class and we'll continue with the exercises. Thank you so much. I'll see you again very soon. Take care.